I want to begin tonight just by letting everyone know that we have certainly a lot of announcements. I'm going to touch first, of course, on the civil unrest we've seen across the country, but then also, very importantly, get back to the health crisis that we are currently in. As we move forward, we're going to have to navigate not just the racial injustice that we're seeing across the country, not just the health crisis that's in front of us, but also the economic challenge and the economic uncertainty that we're facing as a community and as a country. So there is a lot to do, but we're going to get through it all together. Let me start by, I want to read a statement that I released earlier today, which I think is really important for you to hear, and I want to begin with that this evening. As Americans from all walks of life continue to express their grief and outrage over what's happening in our country and the systemic racism in our country, it's clear that we have a long way to go before we achieve Dr. King's dream of racial justice and equity for all. It's up to all of us to fix this problem, and it starts, of course, by acknowledging it. For too long, and in every aspect of American life, Black Americans have not experienced equal treatment. Not in our education system, not in the workforce, not in government institutions, or in law enforcement. Long Beach is no exception, and there are no exceptions. The brutal killing of George Floyd was horrific, and we as Americans have a right to be outraged. Peaceful demonstrations are an important part of our history and the civil rights movement. Now, over the last decade, our own Long Beach Police Department has come a long way in making reforms. We've trained every officer in de-escalation, mental health, and racial equity, and added more accountability measures. All patrol officers now have body-worn cameras, and we've seen officer-involved use of force decline. We're proud of the progress of the Long Beach Police Department, but we still have a long way to go, not just here in Long Beach, but across the country. And not just in policing, but in every aspect of American life and our institutions. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter to Long Beach, and Black Lives Matter to me. Now, I am committed to continuing the reforms that we've seen here and to strengthen them. To that end, and in the coming weeks, I'll be joining a series of conversations with Black organizers, students, and leaders in our city to address the crisis we're facing today. I will listen, dialogue, and then we will act. Our community and country are counting on us. Thank you for that. And I want to now just transition to a little bit of an update. I want to just begin by saying first that today we had two very peaceful protests happen in Long Beach. One was at Hartwell Park in the eastern part of our city, and the second was over closer to Bixby Park, just over on the bluff, and some of which is still going on as I speak. And both have been very peaceful. I want to thank the organizers for using their voice and to uplift the serious challenges we have in our country around systemic racism. And I want to appreciate all those that have come out and done so in a peaceful way. I also want to just note that in the last 72 hours, essentially since Sunday, and since we saw just both the beautiful protests and the peaceful protests, and then the horror of what happened that evening, in those 72 hours, there has been no loss of life in our community. And we only had one major structure fire. And I want to thank the community and our public safety officials for that incredible work and their ability to engage with the community, and for all of you for being supportive as well. I also want to remind folks that we have a curfew tonight, and we've had one for the last few evenings. Tonight's curfew is a 9 p.m. curfew, and it's important that folks are home by the 9 p.m. hour, and it goes to the morning. We've had a curfew the last few nights, and it's really assisted our public safety team and the city to ensure to have a safe community, calm tensions, and of course nerves of so many and to ensure that we have the entire public safety situation under control, and that we can have peace over these last few nights. We know that curfews are hard, and we know that they are difficult for many people in our community, so we understand that. They're not easy decisions, but it's also a multi-agency decision that is being made for all 88 cities in the entire county region. And so again, thank you for your cooperation and support to our city. That curfew begins at 9 p.m. tonight, and these curfew decisions are made every morning by the Long Beach Police Department and different agencies across the county. And as a reminder, I know probably you're getting multiple alerts on your phones about curfews. Long Beach coordinates with LA County on their curfews, but Long Beach also has the ability to have its own curfew. And so you're seeing sometimes messages from the city, and then others you're seeing from the county. But to be clear, the Long Beach curfew begins at 9 p.m. tonight. We'll have a lot more to say on the issues around the civil unrest happening across the country in the days ahead. But I want to transition now to an issue that was incredibly serious before Sunday evening as well, and that's the COVID-19 crisis we have in our city. As of today, we have over 2,100 individuals that have tested positive for COVID-19. Approximately 1,475 have recovered. We're also sad to report that we've lost 92 people to COVID-19 in Long Beach. 70 have been associated with long-term care facilities. In days, COVID-19 will have taken over 100 people from our city, 100 residents, some of which are the most vulnerable in our community. And so this is still a serious health issue and will continue to be even more serious. As an update, we've reopened many of our testing sites. We never close all testing sites in Long Beach. We still had the St. Mary's site and the Jordan Plus site have been open the last couple days, but we have reopened some additional sites. That includes the Long Beach City College Pacific Coast Campus site, the Cabrillo High School site, and of course the Jordan High School site, the regular Jordan High School site. And the Rapid Assessment Clinic is also open. We've done almost 40,000 tests in this community, and we're going to continue to do more. Anyone that wants a test in Long Beach can get one. And certain sites treat different folks, whether you're symptomatic or non-symptomatic. Please go to longbeach.gov/COVID-19 or call 570-INFO for more information on how to get tested. I now want to talk a bit about hospitalizations. We're now beginning to see an upward trend in hospitalization numbers since the Safer at Home order was put in place in May. We've obviously had additional outdoor recreation and retail and restaurants slowly reopen. Now, most of these hospitalizations are associated with folks in our long-term care facilities, but these people are very vulnerable, and they tend to have also longer hospitalizations than others. This is still a very serious issue and a trend that should concern us. I have spoken on COVID-19 to some folks, and I understand that some people don't want to hear about COVID-19, and they want all of our focus to be on the serious civil unrest and racial justice issues that face us. But we have also got to do multiple things at once, and we cannot afford to lose hundreds of more of our community members, especially our vulnerable seniors. We have to continue to take COVID-19 serious. Now, our positivity rate and our testing efforts, we're finding that our positivity rate is remaining low. Even as we administer more tests, the number of positive results are while increasing, are not increasing at levels that we're finding overly alarming yet. This is a good sign also that our testing capacity is growing and our contact tracing work is also moving forward. I ask us to please remain vigilant around COVID-19. Stay home if you can, except for essential needs. Continue to wash your hands. Continue to physically distance. Continue to wear a face covering when you are out. And of course, if you are out protesting or part of a demonstration or any type of action, please also take care of yourself and continue to wear a face covering. So let's do our part to continue and limit the spread of COVID-19. I'm going to turn this over to Kelly Colopy, who's the director of our health department. She's going to give an update on what we're doing with COVID, and then we're going to answer some questions from the press. Kelly. Whoops. There you go.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being here today. I wanted to start a little bit about taking things personal. We talk often about, I'm sorry, this will be emotional for me. We talk often about people in our long-term care facilities who pass. I learned that the grandfather to my children passed last week in a long-term care facility. I had to call them and share with them what had happened. He wasn't ready to go, but he was in that space. And so every time we talk about someone from a long-term care facility, a skilled nursing facility, every one of those people has family. Every one of those people has had a life to celebrate, and we know that, and we live it. I also want to talk a little bit about the health department and take a moment to reflect on who we are. When we talk about health, we use the World Health Organization definition, a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. This means that we stand for the overall wellness of our communities and all of you in this city. This is what I fight for every day. You can imagine I've been busy. We're working through many public health crises that have all aligned at the same time. COVID is a public health crisis. Violence is a public health crisis. Injustice is a public health crisis. Poverty is a public health crisis. And racism is a public health crisis. Racism is the crisis that is the undercurrent for the impacts of all others. These things cannot be untangled. We as a department have been taking this head on through our participation in the Government Alliance for Race and Equity, our implicit bias training, opening an Office of Equity to really look at our policies and the programs that we implement across the city, creating opportunities to be with our communities to listen and to learn about the impacts of past decisions and how we improve and make better decisions and creating opportunity for everyone within the city. We know we have so much more to do. We all have to do it together. It can't be one department. It can't be all departments. It can't be just the city. It has to be everybody in our city together. And I really look forward to working with you on that. Our stand for this community does not waver. So on that note, we are in a COVID crisis. And I want to share a little bit about, as a public health leader, I am sitting there standing and cheering for people who are standing against injustice in our streets as the private protests. But I'll have to tell you that I smiled and warmed my heart when they had face coverings on within the crisis. And I want you all to know that it is safe. We want you to take the stand and to be able to protest and take the stands for you do. And it is possible to do it safely. It is possible to do it safely with face coverings and to stand in distance and walk quietly. Speaking loudly, it does go further. So we ask you, through all of that, understand what that looks like. It is difficult for us to determine whether the protests will contribute to potential surges because protesters began exercising their First Amendment rights at the very same time that we started relaxing our restrictions. So we said on Friday, it's time that we can open our restaurants. It's time that we can open our salons. We've been opening other things throughout the week. And at the same time, our protests started. And so it's going to be really interesting for me as your public health director to be able to watch those numbers and to begin to understand how we can address that. While COVID-19 is very contagious, all the protesters are outdoors. And the majority of them were wearing face coverings. Cheers to you. And that can reduce the risk of transmission. That being said, there is still risk. So we ask you that when you are in protest, that you are with members of your household and you create space from others. The large gatherings can result in increased transmission. So we just continue to ask you to be in those spaces. Some ways you can reduce the risk, once again, your face coverings, maintaining your distance, keep your hands cleaned. Everybody, there are really small, great bottles of hand sanitizer, and these wipes work really well. Avoid touching your face with your unwashed hands, and stay home if you feel sick. So I also want to share a little bit about a new program that we started. It's mobile testing. Due to the recent events, we've temporarily had to postpone some of our COVID testing to ensure the safety of our patients and our staff. As an alternative, we are expanding the accessibility of COVID-19 testing through our mobile testing services. This free service is reserved for residents who are homebound due to mobility or transportation issues, including individuals at personal residences and their caregivers. The mobile testing unit will also serve those who reside in congregate living facilities, including skilled nursing facilities, long-term care facilities, and sober living homes that lack on-site staff to administer tests or facilities that don't have the ability to run the tests. Mobile testing services are being provided by the Collection, Transportation, and Analysis Team, a specialized team of medical professionals for the National Guard. This National Guard deployment is solely a humanitarian effort with the purpose of enhancing public health and city services by providing additional staff support. So as always, if you're interested in this, you can go to our COVID-19 website or call our info line and you can register. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your stands. Thank you for being in our community. And I look forward to working with all of you moving forward through this COVID crisis, this crisis of violence, and through all of it that we can be together. Thanks.
Thank you, Kelly. And of course, we love you and thank you for the amazing leadership in the health department and your family. We're going to go ahead and take some questions. And then after the questions, we're going to have a Spanish recap from Alice from the health department. And of course, Paola is also here translating for an ASL for us. So Jake, we'll take any questions.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The first question will be from Kelly Puente from the Long Beach Post. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hi, this question is for Kelly Colopy. And Kelly, I'm sorry for your loss. Just wanted to say that. Can we talk a little bit more about the timeline with people gathering in masses like this? How is the city monitoring upticks, and when could we possibly start seeing maybe upticks in hospitalizations or infection rates? Just want to get a better idea of the timeline and what we're looking at moving forward in the next couple weeks.
It's usually probably between 2 and 3 weeks. So, for people who are exposed, when they start to realize that they have symptoms, takes sometime between 5 and 10 days. From that point, they get tested. The test results come back, and that's when it gets reported to us and becomes part of our numbers. So, we report each day the numbers that are coming through on that day, but generally we may test them or they may become symptomatic prior to that. So we try and align that based on our research so that we understand when they were exposed and when they became infectious compared to the time when we report it a few days later.
Kelly, while I have you there, we have a question from Facebook that I think is really relevant to that, and it talks about positivity rates. Mm-hmm. And people are concerned a little bit about positivity rates, specifically almost like 2 to 3 weeks ago versus what they are currently right now. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, so our last positivity rate, which was as of last Friday, was 6.3%. So what we usually count back a few days to make sure we have all the data in there. We don't like to report on incomplete data. Our labs are reporting in a 48 to 72 hour response now. So we are able to get full data we're sort of looking at 5 days out. So we are looking at the positivity rates, and it has remained in the 6s.
Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Mayor, the next question will be from Valerie from the Long Beach Post. Go ahead, Valerie.
Hi, this is also for Kelly. Also about hospitalizations. So what is the number that we're looking at for when we're at capacity? I mean, we've been seeing the hospitalization numbers kind of, getting adjusted and ticking up and closer to 100 over the past few weeks. And so what's the number?
The number. So hospitals themselves are not just taking COVID patients. So the hospitals have bed capacity across the city of approximately 1,500 beds. So when we're looking at COVID patients specifically, that number, the day reporting was around 81 recently. What we're finding is we are doing more and more testing within our skilled nursing facilities, and in a way to provide some additional safety, some of those skilled nursing facilities facilities are sending more people to the hospital. So that is part of the uptick. But we do have capacity within our hospitals right now. So 1,500 beds total with an additional ability to surge, I think, another 400 beds. So we certainly are not at capacity at this time, but we are seeing a growing number of hospitalizations in the city.
Thank you, Kelly. Mr. Mayor, the next question is a question that we received in writing, and this is from Bill Pearl from LongBeachReport.com. And he talks a little bit about your recommended budgets approved by the City Council have left Long Beach with a police level roughly equivalent per capita to cutting about a third of our budgeted officers. Do you acknowledge this? And also, do you think that if there is a plan in the future to help restore officers that are not restored to date for taxpayers despite Measure A?
Okay, I think that was a long question, but I think I got most of it. I think first, I think it's important to note that back during the Great Recession, I think the city itself drastically shrunk in every single department. This was not just in policing, but in fire department and in almost everything. So I think the city dramatically shrunk because of the recession that happened nationally and happened, of course, everywhere. Since that time, and since I've been mayor and this council has been in place, those numbers have increased, and there's been an increase across the city, not just in public safety, but of course in all departments. And that has grown, and that grew, of course, with the passage of that ballot measure as well that was for public safety. But as far as moving forward, we're going to have to take a really close look at the budget when we address that this summer. Prior to this crisis that we're in, and prior to COVID, we were already seeing some national indications of what was going on with the economy, and COVID really crashed a lot of the progress. We have in Long Beach today between 20 and 25% of the population. I think it's 60,000 people that are on unemployment or unemployed. That was prior to the unrest that's happening right now, and prior to businesses being shut down and impacting the economy. So our decision-making and what we do with the budget moving forward is going to be critical, and it's something I think the council is going to engage in, and certainly that we're going to be thinking about in the months ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. The next question is from Facebook, from one of our Facebook Live viewers, and this question is around, has there been a decision at summer camps yet with regard to youth sports and some of those programs that our parks are so well known for, and what phase is this considered in the reopening?
So I think that the youth sports question and the question about summer activities, we're hoping get answered in the next couple of days. We know that's an important thing for families. To be very honest, I think everyone at the state level and locally has been really focused, and most of our attention has been on the kind of civil unrest issues that we've had to deal with, and trying to support those that have been protesting peacefully. And so that has been the main issue. But I want to say, and Kelly, I don't know if you've heard differently, but it sounds like in the next few days we might hear something on that.
So it's currently planned that daytime summer camps, seen as summer activities that are sort of as a youth care opportunity, will likely come online within the next couple of weeks at the state level. But what that looks like is very different to what they've looked like in the past. So what is not allowed is that people can drop in or those kind of things, but they're much more structured. They're small groups. Everything that we can do to really start to mitigate a concern of the spread of the virus. So there will be a lot of things opening. However, they will look very different, and you'll be hearing more about that coming forward.
All right, Kelly, actually, this is the last question from Facebook Live from some of our viewers here. And it really gets into this idea about the fact that we have people that are gathering safely for the protests, and you've encouraged them to do so, wear their masks. If they can gather safely for protests, why aren't they able to gather for birthdays or graduations or weddings? And I know that you've been passionate about this, but if we could just provide a summary of that, and then we'll wrap up the conference today.
We stand for people's First Amendment rights to speak. Would I say that gathering and large gatherings and protest is safe around COVID? It's not. This is your step that you can take to make it safer. So if you're wearing your face coverings, it is a step towards more safety. It is not safe. necessarily. All the things that we talk about are one more step, but the distance is important. The face coverings are important. We support people's First Amendment rights to speak. If it was my way in the world, which is not right now, then I would encourage everybody to still stay home and to be able to stand in many different ways. But I understand the strength of people coming together in protest, and we just ask you to do your very best, in this case, to protect yourself and to protect the people around you.
Thank you very much, Kelly.
And I want to echo one thing. And then I think that's all the questions.
That's it. That's the questions from Facebook.
Good. Let's just as a reminder for everyone that's out there that is participating in peaceful actions. Please remember that Kelly's absolutely right, and we could be spreading COVID-19 amongst the individuals, and then just be cautious of then when you go back home, particularly if you have vulnerable grandparents or parents that might have compromised immune systems. That we just need to be incredibly careful in this time. And I am, like Kelly, concerned about the hospitalization rate and making sure that we don't get to a point where we get back to that really scary time early on in this crisis where we weren't sure if we would have enough ventilators or have enough hospital beds. We do not want to get there again. But we have a lot of data to look at over the next couple of weeks. And so I want to just thank everyone. I want to have a Spanish translation. We'll continue to do our updates, and please stay safe, whether you're at home, whether you're taking care of yourself versus COVID-19, or whether you are participating in a peaceful demonstration. Please stay safe, and I'll have the translation. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, alcalde y directora Kelly Colopy. Muy buenas tardes a todos. Gracias por acompañarnos hoy. Primero, queremos empezar con algo que publiqué y que el alcalde publicó en su red social sobre las recientes manifestaciones debido al asesinato de George Floyd en el estado de Minnesota. Queremos que la comunidad de Long Beach sepa que nosotros apoyamos las vidas de los afroamericanos, de los negros en nuestra comunidad importan, y estamos tratando la manera de seguir y somos líderes en este movimiento. Apoyamos a todos los que están practicando sus derechos de la primera enmienda. El trato injusto, falta de vidas importa, y las vidas de la comunidad negra son muy importantes para mí, para nosotros, para nuestra comunidad y la ciudad de Long Beach. Sabemos que ha visto muchas injusticias, pero también, como decimos, nosotros apoyamos al movimiento social y para todas las injusticias que han pasado históricamente, que por mucho tiempo se ha visto en nuestro país, en todo nuestro país, en los Estados Unidos también. Sabemos que todavía estamos muy lejos de alcanzar la igualdad en nuestras comunidades, y especialmente en la comunidad negra. También queremos asegurarles que Long Beach está trabajando juntos para poder entrenar a los policías, al departamento de nuestra ciudad, para practicar menos fuerzas contra la comunidad. Eso ha sido con muchos entrenamientos y también con poniéndoles las cámaras a los policías también. Nomás queríamos empezar con eso porque sabemos que eso es muy importante ahorita, y también necesariamente porque estas demostraciones significa que la gente está afuera practicando sus derechos. Sí nos agrada ver que las personas están usando sus máscaras. La mayoría de las personas están usando sus máscaras, pero no significa que todavía no estamos al riesgo de otra propagación o otras olas del coronavirus. Sabemos que a veces hay personas que no quieren, ya están cansados de oír del coronavirus, pero todavía es muy preeminente e importante que tengamos información, los datos, la información más reciente para ustedes y nuestra comunidad. Para empezar también hoy, les queremos dar los últimos datos, información, que a partir de hoy tenemos 2,118 residentes que han dado positivos del coronavirus. Aproximadamente 1,476 personas se han recuperado y hemos perdido desde hoy a 92 personas el coronavirus. 70 se han asociado con centros de atención de enfermería. algunos sabemos que los últimos 2 días, por el toque de queda que hemos tenido, sí tuvimos que cerrar para la seguridad de nuestros empleados y nuestros voluntarios en la comunidad. Tuvimos que cerrar los sitios y la clínica de la clínica rápida, de evaluación rápida, perdón. Y desde hoy reabrimos los sitios de pruebas del Long Beach City College, el que está sobre la PCH, de 10 de la mañana a 1 de la tarde diario. El sitio de Cabrillo High School también sigue de 10 a 1 de la tarde. El sitio de Jordan High School ha cambiado su horario de 3 p.m. a 5 para esta semana diariamente. Y la clínica de evaluación rápida, que también está en Long Beach City College sobre la PCH, está abierta de 10 de la mañana a 2. Recuerden que ahí se encuentran doctores, equipos de enfermería para poder evaluar y ayudarles con otras cosas con su salud, como una medicina, evaluaciones, para que no tenga que asistir a un hospital o un lugar de emergencia si no es necesario. Queremos agradecerles, siguiendo el agradecimiento y la dedicación a nuestros voluntarios, el Departamento de Salud y todos nuestros socios de salud pública. Las pruebas están disponibles a cualquier persona en Long Beach que quiera. Desde hoy hemos administrado más de 39,000 pruebas de coronavirus. Ciertos sitios, recuerden que ciertos sitios solamente están dando las pruebas a personas que experimentan síntomas también. Para programar una cita puede llamar a nuestra línea de información o también pueden hacer su cita en nuestro sitio web de la ciudad. Recuerden también que el coronavirus todavía sigue siendo una amenaza persistente y muy grave en Long Beach. Insistimos que mantengan alerta, quédese en casa, con excepción de necesidades esenciales. Lávese las manos con frecuencia, lávese las manos durante al menos 20 segundos. Es muy importante seguir el distanciamiento físico por lo menos 6 pies de otras personas. Usen sus coberturas, sigan usando esas coberturas, ténganlas a su lado, en su bolsa, en su carro, con ustedes todos los tiempos. Si hace ejercicio, no es necesario, pero es importante que sí siempre esté preparado por si se encuentra en una posición donde no puede seguir teniendo ese distanciamiento físico. También sabemos que el problema con las demostraciones han sido que son lugares donde hay varias personas juntas al mismo tiempo y las personas están diciendo cómo es que podemos salir a demostrar y no podemos tener una reunión o alguna fiesta en nuestra casa. Y sabemos que es algo frustrante, pero todavía es mucho el riesgo para hacer eso y debemos prevenir otra ola del coronavirus antes de que relajemos más las pólizas para seguir en nuestras reuniones en casa o fuera de la casa y en grupos grandes. Es muy importante que el momento volverse complacientes sobre la prevención de la propagación de este virus. Algunas formas, como le dijimos antes, para prevenir el coronavirus, que la hemos repetido aquí día a día, semana a semana, que sigan usando sus coberturas. Evite tocarse la cara y si sí se toca la cara, por favor, lavarse las manos seguidamente. Hay algo nuevo también en nuestro Departamento de Salud, es debido a los eventos recientes que hemos tenido que temporalmente cerrar los sitios que reabrimos hoy, pero hay unas pruebas móviles que queremos empezar a practicar. Es una opción alternativa y estamos ampliando la accesibilidad de las pruebas del coronavirus a través de un servicio de pruebas móviles. Este servicio gratuito es reservado para los residentes que están confinados en su hogar debido a un problema de movilidad o de transporte, incluido a las personas en residentes personales y sus cuidadores. La unidad de prueba móvil también servirá a aquellos que residen en instalaciones de vida congregadas, incluidas como los sitios de enfermería y los sitios de largo plazo. El equipo del transporte es un equipo especializado de profesionales médicos y también la Guardia Nacional, su grupo de humanitarios, está ayudándonos con este programa también. Queremos también recordarles también que en nuestros estudios y nuestra profesión de la salud pública, todos los problemas de razas, inequalidades, de salud, es todo, es junto. Para nosotros es algo que es muy importante, la manera que nosotros queremos apoyar. No queremos decirle a la gente no salgan porque están apoyando y respetando sus derechos civiles, pero al mismo tiempo les pedimos y les imploramos que por favor salgan a las calles, pero con cuidado y que se queden siempre vigilantes a su alrededor. Aprovechen de todos estos servicios que tenemos en la comunidad, o sea, chequear su salud mental, chequearse, si tiene que hacerse otra prueba del virus también, platique con sus vecinos, siempre a recordar que tocar nuestra humanidad, también ayudar al vecino, al prójimo y estar ahí para sus amistades, para sus familias. Es muy importante durante estos tiempos difíciles, pero estamos juntos con ustedes y queremos agradecerles por siempre sintonizarnos con nosotros y siempre si tienen algunas preguntas o les falta alguna información, no dejen de llamar a nuestra línea de información. Por entonces, esto es todo por hoy. Nos vemos próximamente el viernes en la tarde. Muchas gracias por acompañarnos hoy.